Welcome to the Sports Business Take podcast. I'm your host, Paul Hine, and I'm here with my great co-host, Zach Creekmore. How you doing today, Zach?
Doing great, Paul. How are you, brother?
Good. Today, we have a very special guest on, Kyle Martin of Front Office Sports. He is the Manager of Growth and Audience Operations at Front Office Sports. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Although I completely realized that I forgot to do half of our intro just now. So a little rocky start, but we'll recover it. So Kyle, could you just tell our audience what it is you do at Front Office Sports, what's your role like, and how does the Manager of Growth and Audience Operations operate?
Yeah, sure. So I've been here for just over 3 years, just surpassed my 3-year anniversary. So um, it's kind of looked a little different over my 3 years. So at first it was a lot of newsletter focused growth. So our main product is our free newsletter, which I'm sure you guys know about. But yeah, free newsletter is our main product, but we have other stuff now that we didn't have when I first started. So daily podcast. Even we have weekend editions of the newsletter now, so that's still very important to us and a big part of our business. And then when I first started, our social was great, but we wanted to grow it even more. And obviously, TikTok has become a lot bigger than when I first started, and just the emerging platforms, YouTube Shorts, stuff like that. So it's kind of I like to say my job and my projects go in sprints, quote unquote. So a couple weeks I'll focus on this, a couple weeks I'll focus on that. So a lot of my focus recently, and honestly in the past year or so, has been a lot of social growth. So Instagram specifically, really, a lot of our revenue comes from sponsorships since, we have the free newsletter. So, how do you monetize that? Obviously sponsorships. We need to grow our audience to go to our sponsors and say, hey, we have this amount of audience. So growing that audience is huge for the revenue part, even if it's not directly, them paying for it. And then social branded content for sponsorships has become bigger and bigger since I've been here. So in that same vein, obviously people don't pay to follow us. So we need to go to sponsors similar to the newsletter and say, hey, we have 230,000 people on Instagram, as opposed to under 100,000 as it was maybe a year ago. So it's just growing different parts of the business, and obviously podcast is huge, as you guys know, and just kind of rolling that into 2024. I think maybe events will be big for us, and then we have free courses. So those are sponsored, similar to the newsletter and stuff like that. So, those are huge for us, not just students in your position, but also just sports professionals, and honestly professionals outside of the sports industry as well, who, maybe are adjacent to the sports industry. So that's a big part of growth too. So really any part of the business, we're looking to grow. And then the operations part is just making sure it runs smoothly, so nothing breaks, or a lot of connections need to happen, whether it's an automation when you join our list, and the first couple of days you get this email, and the next couple of days you get this email. So that's kind of the operations part of the growth and operations. So looks different every day. I know it's a typical answer, but never the same. So.
And that's the way it is in sports, right? It is never the same. I actually took one of those courses that you were talking about, sports marketing course. It was really good.
Awesome.
So
yeah.
You guys put out a lot of great content, and we actually use a ton of your stories that you guys put on your website in our episodes. We use those to get information for episodes. And as a podcast, we understand how difficult it is to kind of get yourself out there and grow your audience, even if you have a good product. So in your time at Front Office Sports, what strategies have you implemented to grow that audience?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is paid growth. So whether it's for newsletters specifically, I do a lot of giveaways. We partner with different newsletters or different companies that will run giveaways. Last year, we partnered with the Pac-12 to for their men's basketball tournament. They gave us some prizes. Obviously tickets to the men's basketball tournament, and then they have a partner, MGM. It's in their tournaments in Las Vegas, so they gave us some, a stay at an MGM property, Cirque du Soleil tickets, stuff like that. Really, really cool prize, and we ran a giveaway, got a bunch of signups for that. Just kind of trying to reach people that maybe have heard of Pac-12 or heard of MGM or you know, Cirque du Soleil or something, and just kind of bringing them into the FOS fold and kind of making them realize what we are as a business. And so that's big for us. A lot of what we've been doing a lot recently on social, and I'm not on the social team. We have a separate social team that's really really good and heads down on producing really good content. But I kind of work in tandem with them for growth, but a lot of growth there. Obviously, we do some paid here and there, um, but a lot of it's come from collaborations on Instagram. So we started out with the content pages where they get a lot of content on the internet and then just kind of post it and add their spin to it. But then that kind of snowballed into now we're partnering with or not partnering but collaborating on content with different schools. And so a lot of what for whatever reason, I don't know why this kind of happened, but a lot of what content pops for us on Instagram is renderings of new facilities or um, even like houses that a house Aaron Rodgers is selling or something or just bought or something like that. So those facilities do really well for us, and so we've reached out to colleges and NFL teams or different teams like that, and um, said, hey, the rendering, saw a rendering, you want to collaborate on a post, stuff like that. They reach out to us. Some have reached out to us, and so we have like a really good mix there on Instagram specifically of growth, and that's uh, just very organic. They know our audience likes that. We know their audience wants to see what's up with their team. So that's a big growth hack for us. Um, but yeah, it just kind of varies based on platform. A lot of what we're doing now is short form video. We're um, a little late to the bus on it, but we see the value in short form video, and just kind of need to find our voice there. We didn't want to just like, just do short form video just to do it, but it's kind of taken off for us. So big shout out to the social team there for kind of finding their groove, just like they have with everything else. So that's been great.
That's awesome to hear about how much success you guys have had.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Specifically thinking of like strategically knowing where you're putting your audience and how you're collaborating.
Mhm.
Excellent work. Um, with social media, and I know you said you're not part of the social media team, but you definitely work in the collaborative aspect of we're understanding the audiences we're addressing and who we're trying to focus on, who we're trying to get to watch our videos or
Mhm.
see our posts, like our posts, comment on our posts, etc. With it being a constantly changing and growing industry, what type of content do you think, or do you think we will see with the largest growth or use or audience draw in 2024?
Oh man, I feel like every couple of weeks there's something new that kind of takes the algorithm. I mean, I think obviously short form video is still going to be huge. AI will weave itself in there somewhere. People will use it for um, script writing. For there'll be some type of AI video platform where I mean, there's already some, but it'll just continue to develop. I saw um, I don't know if I don't know the timeline, but a comparison of uh, I think it was Mid Journey, one of the AI platforms, or maybe it was another one, but a comparison to of a post or a picture it spit out at the beginning of it and to now, and they use the same um, like template or the same thing it fed the AI system, and so it was just wild to see, and to think that was maybe at the beginning of 2023 or maybe end of 2022 was the first picture. We're just developing at a rapid rate with AI, so I think that'll be huge. If I knew exactly what was next with AI, I think I'd be a millionaire. But I know it'll be something. So yeah, it'll be something there. Yeah, I just think I think video will be continue to be king. So yeah, I think that's where we're putting a lot of emphasis this year. So or next year, I guess.
Awesome. It's great to hear about how AI and video is impacting how you guys are doing so well. So having all this success, how do you break down your audience engagement goals at Front Office Sports? What kind of metrics do you use, or what like time period do you track over with viewers?
Sure. Yeah. So, um, I mean, you know, a, a lot of what we used to do when I first joined on email on the email side was with open rates, and those are not as valuable anymore. They're not as reliable. A lot of people can use the Apple system and kind of get a fake email address, or not fake, but they don't want to give out their information. They use a email address that's not theirs, and it kind of funnels into their email account, and so um, they're not as reliable as they were. So we're um, still kind of using open rates as it compares to other days open rates. So if I see our open rate on one day is really really low compared to a open rate on the next day, I'm not looking at the exact number, but I'm looking at the difference. That could tell me, okay, did something happen with Gmail? Did something, because Gmail is most of our audience, as it is for a lot of people. So did something happen with the Gmail system? Did something go out? So that's big for us on email, just kind of like internally, I would say. Um, Engagement is obviously huge for us from a sponsorship standpoint. Um, how many eyeballs get on uh, different sponsors, and then from social perspective, if it's a video, we're looking at watch time. We're looking at we typically don't have. We'll have, like, we'll post our own stories on Twitter and stuff like that. So there we look at link clicks and stuff. Um, but a lot of what we do, and it's been very intentional, is to keep people on the platform. So we'll have stories that are longer form, that our writers will write on different things. But a lot of what we do on Twitter or on Instagram is to keep people on the platform. So we look at engagement, we look at impressions. Obviously, is great, just from retweets and stuff on Twitter. So really, it kind of depends on the platform, but or in the goals. I think every time social posts something, they have kind of a goal in mind, whether that's this is going to increase engagement, impressions, stuff like that. So it kind of varies.
Okay. What do you think is the difference between an email that does well and an email that doesn't do as well in terms of open rates and stuff like that? What
Sure.
works the best?
Yeah, sure. So, I think a lot of, if we're talking specifically about open rate, I think a lot of what determines that is the subject line, um, because that subject line is pretty much only gonna affect open rate, because if you don't open it, you're not going to click on it, right? So it's not going to affect click rate. So that click rate, I would say, is more geared toward the content. And again, a lot of our content even on in the newsletter is kind of developed to keep you on the newsletter, right? So you can click out to the full article, but we usually try to keep the article in newsletter, just because we know people are there every morning, every day, pretty much of their working lives is they have their email open. So, but open rate I think is determined by the subject line. If you include certain words, phrases, symbols in your subject lines, you can end up in the spam folder. You can end up in these different tabs that Gmail has if you don't. I typically mess with my Gmail tab, so I don't have like a promotions tab or anything like that. But some people do still have like the promotions tab, different tabs like that, and your email service provider isn't going to tell you if you land in there. And a lot of people don't look at their promotions tab because they think it's a lot of spam or discount codes or whatever that they'll only look at if they need to. So different words can trigger different funnels for your emails to go down. So ultimately, I think open rate is determined by the subject line.
Awesome. Definitely something for college students to get good at is picking a good subject line and really using good email techniques, because it's something that is used in the professional world. So thank you for talking about that.
Yeah. No, and sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Oh no, something I was going to say is like, email it was not very prominent in my mind until the job I had before front office sports. I worked at a company called Legends, who does a lot in the sports space, but I was on the e-commerce team there. So I worked with a lot of professional sports teams and leagues and college sports teams. So like Ohio State athletics, U.S. soccer, stuff like that. And we would run their email campaigns and their e-commerce websites, and just seeing the impact of email just kind of blew my mind, because I'm fully in the social media space. And so, was more than I am now, but I thought that was where everybody was, right? And everybody's there. They're going to buy off social media ads, stuff like that. But the email service provider we used at Legends, we could see directly how much revenue was coming from each email, and that kind of like shifted in my mind of, okay, wow, like this is generating real revenue and real eyeballs. So that's kind of where I think that last job kind of shifted in my mind. Okay, email is still king. Like it's not just like spam and that's where you find discount codes if you need one or something. That is still king, and people are still in their inbox every single day for 8 hours a day while they're working. They just have their inbox up. So that's kind of what made my shift in my mind. And FOS, I saw the FOS job and I was like, I want to work in email. So
no, absolutely true and very powerful. We've talked about it in past episodes. You really are. What email is that's the 20% of your audience that has participated with your business in the past, right? And that's where the 80% of your revenue comes from. So really thinking about it in that way, and it's so true and powerful that those are the people that are interested in what you're selling, interested in what you're doing, and want to see it. It's just like, this is our follower base. This is the people who are passionate about what we do and want to be part of it. So excellent job identifying that, and definitely something for anybody looking to work in sports or anybody who's currently working in sports, wanting to grow their business, and kind of flows into my next question of, as someone who's worked in both organization and team media / audience management operations, what would you say is the most powerful tool for growth for an organization? And is that email?
Yeah. Man, I think every answer of mine is like, well, it depends. So I apologize for that. But
that's okay. It always does.
Those are the best answers, because those are the ones you can talk about.
Yeah, no, I don't want there to just be like a straight up answer, because that would be too easy. But I think for a fully digital company like us, email is king, right? So I think Adam, our CEO and founders, has said before, like, it's the most intimate relationship you can have as a company with someone, is being in their email inbox, because you are you are with them like 8 hours a day, like I said. So you're not just like posting something on social and hoping somebody reads it or sees it or watches it. um, you're right there on their second screen, or you're right there, in a minimized window or something. You are talking to them, right? You're not like on a soapbox on social media.
Mm.
So that's huge for us. You know, very intentional. You have to be very intentional in opting into the email. You could follow someone on a whim because they had a funny post or something, and then not really care about them later, or they're not going to show up on your feed if you follow thousands of people. So that's huge, huge, huge for us. As far as like, I was with, sorry, I didn't give my background or anything, but my first job was with a minor league baseball team. And so for us there, my first year was, the first year of the baseball team in that city, Columbia, South Carolina. And so, for us there, for the 3 years that I was there, it was, I would say that the biggest marketing piece was, just word of mouth marketing. So like in person, you get out in the local parade this weekend, like that is huge, because people, it's a very, yeah, we had digital assets and stuff like that, but it's a very tangible, you go to a game. No, I mean, minor league baseball has TV, or like, streaming service, but my job was to get people to the games, right? So, um, it was very like tangible. I would take the mascot places, I would take the players places, stuff like that. So that was huge for us there. Email, we had a newsletter list, but that was basically like, hey, here's the games that are coming up, and it was very kind of impersonal, and right for that organization. But I think the biggest asset for us was the in person, shaking hands, kissing babies, stuff like that, to put a phrase to it. But yeah.
Having worked in minor league baseball myself last summer, I can definitely identify that with the Portland Sea Dogs. We went out in the community and gave out free tickets and stuff like that.
Sure.
So
Did
definitely
you take
can.
the rite of passage, and you were the mascot at all?
I was not the mascot for
Oh,
the Sea Dogs. No, they had someone. They had a hired person to do that. But I
yeah.
was the mascot for St. Joe's one time, which we don't need to speak.
There you
We
go.
don't need to speak about that.
Well,
But
All's
there
not
you go.
protocol.
Every sports professional needs to go through it. So you did your rite of passage
I
there.
did do my rite of passage. Um, I want to shift back to the content side for just a second. We talked a lot about email, but in terms of content, what would you say your personal favorite piece of content that you guys have put out there in your time there has been? I
Oh
know that's a
man.
really hard question because you've been there for 3 years. I believe now today, right? 3 years today.
Three
I just saw it on
years.
LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know when they put it up on LinkedIn, but 3 years on the 16th, so a couple weeks.
Okay. Well,
But
congratulations.
thank you. Oh man, my favorite piece of content. I don't know. I don't know if like one sticks out. Um, I like
It could be a
our so
story too. It doesn't have to be a piece, like a singular post.
a story. I don't know. To be honest, I I like a lot of our podcasts, to be honest. So,
Okay.
like our yeah, we have a lot of good podcasts with like athletes, and I mean, we had Jake Paul on the podcast one time. Um, and then I think I would say to it's not really one piece of content, but like our Rising 25 award. We have a Rising 25 award. So sports professionals that are 25 or under, we have an award for that. best employers in sports. We have an award for that. So people vote on, who's the best employer in sports. I don't know if like one piece of content sticks out to me. I mean, personally, I love all of our like athlete real estate posts. I think they're just very interesting. I call like Zillow, I call it my like other social media platform. I just like get on Zillow and like look at like cool houses, weird houses, like that Zillow Gone Wild uh Twitter account is like one of my favorite Twitter accounts. So I really like that side of things. So, where sports and real estate connect is like my favorite thing. So, um, like the Ben Simmons house sticks out to me. Like we posted about, uh, I think Russell Wilson and Sierra had a house on our feed one time. I don't know, just those posts are really cool to me. So
Yeah,
I would say
definitely cool to
those.
hear about like new stadium and house concepts like that. So definitely
Yeah.
interesting topics that not a lot of people in sports news really think about. So it's definitely a different way to create content.
Hmm.
So continue on that, and great feedback. So thank you for answering our questions so far. Um, my question is, what is someone or somewhere you've taken a lot of inspiration from as a professional so far? I know you've been working in this professional sports world for around 11 years in a lot of different areas, mostly in social media. So I'm just kind of curious. I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of places in my work. Curious where you take yours from.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot early on, I would say when I was more entrenched in social, um, a lot of it came from a woman by the name of Jess Smith. Um, she she used to run, and I think she might have just uh, kind of started posting on there again. But she used to run a blog or a site called Social and Sport, and she worked for Under Armour at one time, an NHL team, I think the St. Louis Blues or something. But she's incredible at uh, just that social and sport. And she works for a motorsports team now. And so I still follow her stuff. I think War Jess Eagle is her Twitter account if you guys want to follow.
Oh yeah, I've
But
heard of her. I think I do follow her on
yeah, and
Twitter
she's
actually.
big on LinkedIn as well. I mean, her content is great for LinkedIn too. But just like overall, um, just like commentary on content is really really good. A very new creator guy by the name of Jordan Rogers. He uh, has done stuff with FOS in the past couple weeks, but really really cool guy. He used to work for Nike for 10 years in branding, and he just has really really good insight on what's going on in the branding culture, and he has a lot of obviously background in that. He worked for Nike football for a while. I don't know if that was his whole stint at Nike, but he just has like a unique perspective. I'm a big fan of the branding side of things, uh, and so he has good insight there. Um, yeah, I think those are two big things, or two big creators that I look to for inspiration, or kind of what's going on, and specifically the social aspect.
Awesome to hear about. I'll definitely have to check Jordan Rogers out. Um,
Yeah,
so we've been
not
talking a lot of.
not Aaron Rodgers' brother, but another Jordan Rodgers.
Oh, okay, good. I won't get that confused.
Different Jordan Rodgers.
So we've been talking a lot about your successes at Front Office Sports, but what would you say is your biggest challenge you faced? It could either be since you've taken the job or in the sports world in general.
Sure. Biggest challenge. Uh, I think. Well, so a lot of weird hours, I think, for sport. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that was more of a thing when I was working in minor league baseball, and and even somewhat for legends as well. Just having to be on the weekend to send an email or different things like that. Not so much at FOS, just because I'm not as connected to the event or like the sporting event side of things. So um, I think that was a challenge for me, um, specifically at FOS. I would say, there's a lot of um, like nuances in the specifically the email industry, and so we like the subject line thing I was talking about earlier. Everybody knows there's certain words or phrases or symbols that can trigger a bad response from the inbox, but uh, besides like uh, you know, vacation in the vacation in the Bahamas, like no, like everybody knows that's probably gonna trigger a spam filter, but like nobody really knows like exactly what other things, and so, um, it's just very nuanced and like, okay, we want to um, capture people's attention in the inbox, but we also don't want to be clickbait. So I'm not the one exactly picking the subject lines. That's up to our writers and editors, but um, you know, it's something that I analyze. So if we have a lower open rate compared to our other open rates at one point, um, could it be due to the subject line? Maybe. Could it be due to the fact that people might be out this week for holiday break? Maybe, probably, but you never really know. And so it's just kind of frustrating at points. Um, so I would say that's kind of the biggest challenge in this role.
Yeah, that makes sense. We definitely both can speak to working odd hours a little bit.
Yeah.
And also wanted to mention you said what you just said about when you really don't know when somebody's going to interact with something or not, right? And there's so many different factors that you can observe, and you pour your heart and your soul into something, and then it comes out and you don't get the result you want, right? Or you don't get the result that you guys expected as a team, leaving you feeling not only unfulfilled by the 18-hour day you just spent trying to come up with this idea or trying to put this out, but
Mhm.
it makes the sport world crazy. It makes it wonderful because that one thing that you do that finally does get that interaction and you finally feel that reward and it's all there in that one place in that one moment, it becomes beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah,
Next.
no, sorry, kind of speaking to that, I was in the marketing promotions for the minor league baseball team, and obviously we would have a planning session or multiple planning sessions before every season, and it was like, what should we do for this theme night, and what should we do for that theme night, and national entertainment acts and stuff like that, and yeah, I mean it's like is we know uh, such and such TV show, Ted Lasso is having its moment right now,
Mhm.
but is anybody going to care about that in 5 months when we have this theme night?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just kind of
Been on those promotions teams before, so
oh
I
man,
definitely understand where you're coming from.
yeah, oh yeah, then it's
Or
like
I've carried out the promotions.
yeah, it's like do we spend all this time and effort and money in this and in a giveaway when people aren't going to care about it, or like a entire TV show could have like an awful, series ending episode, and it's like nobody really cares about the TV show anymore.
Right.
So yeah, it's just kind of an odd thing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Next question. As someone who's worked in sports for the last 11 years, what would be your biggest piece of advice for young people, college students, etc., who are looking to break into and build a career in sports like you have?
sure, yeah. Man, saying 11 years makes me feel old. But yeah, I mean, truly, it's so uh, I'm not a very good connector. Like I know a lot of people who are like really, really good connecting or at connecting with people. I'm just not. Um, I I don't put myself out there when I'm at events or anything like that. I'm a very introverted person. So I think the biggest thing I would say to college students specifically when you're all living together on campus is to just meet everybody. I've connected with people on LinkedIn who I was in like a group project with in college, who are doing like really cool stuff now. And um, went back when I was looking for a job, before I got before I got hired on to FOS. I was looking for a job, and I was like, oh man, it would be really nice to hit up this person to kind of see if they have any openings at this company or this team or whatever. But obviously, it would be very weird and very self-serving to me for me to reach out to them who I haven't talked to since that group project in my business class in 2013 or whatever. Since I haven't talked to them since then, it's like I can't reach out to I can't reach out to them in good faith and be like, hey, what's going on? So I think that's the biggest thing, is to just um, talk to people in college, connect with them, whether that's literally on LinkedIn or just hang out with them, go get a drink with them, whatever. Um, and then nurture those relationships, you know, and because they might have connections later on down the line, that you could really benefit from, and you could help them. If you like them and you like how they work, you could reach out to them for a job at your company, that you want them to come work in. So that's something that a lot of people at FOS did in the past. Who now they're like reaching out to them because that person owns a business, and it would be great for us to work with them, to help grow our audience or something like that. And um, I see people in my past that are doing cool stuff now that we could benefit from, and it's like, oh man, I wish I kind of kept up that relationship. So I think that would be my main piece of advice.
Yeah, definitely making connections is something we talk about a lot on this podcast, and it's a huge piece of the sports world. I think one of the things for us is reaching out to people like yourself to have on the podcast. Is that's one of our avenues for
Sure.
making connections.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
on a less
everybody will tell you that the sports industry is very small, and I
yeah
was told that when I was, by professors when I was going through school, and I was like, there's so many teams, and they're exactly right. I mean, it's whether you're at a team or sports adjacent, or working in the sports industry and not on team, whatever. Um, Chances are somebody on your team knows somebody on some other team, or at a certain agency or something like that. So it's very small. Believe them when they tell you.
Absolutely. We've been asking a lot of serious questions. On a less serious note, we like to ask our guests all the same final question. So, for our closing question, if you could go back and work for any team or organization in sports history, which event or moment would you want to work for or cover?
Oh my gosh.
And I
Um,
know that's a hard one. You'll need to think for a second.
yeah. Um, well, I mean, so, I have two answers. So I don't know, I'm a big Dream Team fan. They were 1 year before I was born. So like people are like, oh, you can't be a fan, whatever. I've seen documentaries and read books. I love the Dream Team, greatest team ever assembled. I would have loved to have been in Barcelona. I don't know what a marketing person could do there. They don't really need marketing for that team, uh, but if I were in like a different role, like I don't know, if I was like cleaning their jerseys or something, I would doing something. I would love to have worked for that team, or I guess Team USA would be that, working for them. Or probably the main one is I'm a huge Cubs fan. The Cubs in 2016 would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
My
Um,
dad's from Chicago, so I'm a Cubs fan too.
yes, yes. I'm from Northeast Indiana, so they were the closest professional baseball team. Uh, so I love them. They're the greatest. The 2016 run was so good. So that would probably be the top answer for me.
Awesome. Really fun to hear about. Thank you so much, Kyle Martin of Front Office Sports, for coming on the pod. Check out Front Office Sports' amazing work at frontofficesports.com or on their social medias. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. And I really hope that you have success going forward, and just keep up the good work, man. Seriously, you guys do awesome. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you, guys. So yeah, let me know if you need anything in the future. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Will do. And viewers, tune in next week. We'll be back. I promise.